You're watching Building Real Estate Wealth Through Probate with Nate Arnold, that Probate Guy, helping you build generational wealth.
Welcome back, everyone. It is good to see you. We are now on episode 6 already of Probate Investing with that Probate Guy, Nate Arnold. And I'm Robyn, Levin, your host. So we are going to be talking a lot about an interesting topic that I think is not well known. And Nate is going to tell us why that is. So today's topic is all about self-directed IRAs and probate. And how is this a little known secret? And fun fact, Nate and I met many years ago through, I was a consultant for 7 years with Penske Trust Company, a self-directed IRA custodian. And Nate, tell us a little bit about your background back then.
And then I was a brokerage looking for a niche to get into. And by the way, this was before, Robyn, this was before I got into probate. I met you at a seminar put on by, I think it was Penske at that time.
Yes.
And I learned the concept of self-directing IRAs, and I loved it because it was perfect for real estate.
Right.
Especially for real estate investors, yes.
And you've taken it a whole notch up today with probate real estate investing.
Probate is the perfect segue into self-directed IRAs, yes.
All right. Well, first, we're going to talk just a little bit about self-directed IRAs for those that might not know what they are and how to buy real estate with your IRA and 401k. And yes, it is legal. Take it away, Nate.
Yes. Probate is as I mentioned before, a perfect vehicle for self-directed IRAs. I got into probate in 2008 during the Great Recession. And during that time, I developed a system. I learned two things: that probate properties tend to need work, and sometimes quite a bit of work. The other thing was that most of the personal representatives were thrust into that position for the first time, and they did not know what to do. Were under a lot of duress. The family typically wanted the property to be sold. The lender wanted to collect their money. And subsequently, those two issues became paramount. The sale of the property became paramount to the personal representative. They wanted to sell the property, and of course, investors wanted to buy the property, and because the property needed work, it normally sells at a discount.
Okay, so just let's back up a little bit, and if you could walk us through the process of how it differs buying real estate as an investor versus using your IRA or a 401k.
That is an experience that I have personally. If you are an investor, the process is very straightforward. You typically will get you find the property, you get it under contract, and then you find a lender to loan you money. That's different if you have a self-directed IRA. In most cases, you will buy the property using your IRA if you have a custodial IRA account or a checkbook IRA account. And we can talk about that later. And so it's pretty straightforward for you as an investor. You don't have to get, for an IRA investor, you don't have to get a loan. You already have the money in place. And that can make your deal even more attractive to the seller because you have ready cash. You don't have to get a loan.
Okay, and it can be your 401k or your IRA.
That's exactly right. It can be your 401k or your IRA, yes.
Okay, so let's take a look, and if you would walk us through a recent example. I know that you've been doing this for years, and again, you're just now telling people more about how to do this with probate real estate. So that's another twist to this, which is very interesting and compelling.
Right. When you're investing in real estate, you typically will own the property itself, okay? So it's not like you're putting money in a bank or you're putting money in the stock market. You actually have a real bricks and mortar property that you can see. That's the thing I love about real estate and probate in particular. You can use that and leverage in particular cases and increase your wealth substantially. In many cases, overnight, just like the case I just talked about. That was a 3-month deal, and I made about $40,000. So it's not like, compounding in a bank that we're talking about.
Right.
We're
And as
talking
you
about,
make, yeah, you make a
yes,
good point. You have a tangible asset. It's not like you're restricted.
exactly,
You're not locked in. I mean, unless you try to sell it and you can't sell it, that's a different story, but you still have the property.
exactly.
Now, do the rules vary by state when you do this investing?
Well, no. Understand this, that uh, federal regulations govern your IRA or your self-directed IRA. So states have no say-so in that pretty much. What does happen though is you have different laws in different states that relate to the purchase and the cost of purchasing real estate. Like in our area in DC, I think we have like about a 4.5% tax rate on when we buy and sell a property. So those things come into play. But no, as far as your self-directed or your IRA, that's regulated by the federal government. And understand this too, Robyn. The reason most people don't understand this process is because they can buy stocks and bonds, and we are kind of channeled into investing in that way rather than taking control of our own investments in real estate. And so you don't have to just invest in with a self-directed IRA. You can invest in other opportunities as well. And there's a list of those, I think, on my website.
Can you walk us through that process? How did you even discover that that was an opportunity for you? And then you chose to do it with your IRA. So take us through that.
This is a great example of knowing people, knowing the right people at the right time. This property here, 114 Duval Place in Gaithersburg, was brought to me by a church member. She had a co-worker whose brother had died. She put us together, and we contracted this property for $50,000. Now, I purchased this property using my self-directed checkbook IRA. That means I made the earnest money deposit using funds from my self-directed IRA. I paid for the property all to $50,000 using those same funds. And when I had the property renovated, and my renovation costs were about $7,700, I also took those funds from my IRA. So in total, with my closing costs and all of that, I spent a little over $60,000 to purchase this property, all with my self-directed IRA, the funds from that account. That transaction took about 3 months. When I sold the property, I hired an agent who was very familiar with the area, and we sold the property for $90,000. Now, Robyn, I could have probably gotten a little bit more, but I didn't want to just let the property languish on the market. The work had been done, and everything was paid for. So we contracted at $90,000, and when we sold, I netted I think between $35,000 to $40,000 on that transaction, and that took a total of, as I mentioned before, about 3 months. So that was a pretty good deal.
That's a great deal. And that's a nice way to boost your IRA. And the money goes back
Exactly.
into the IRA and you're still compounding.
That's exactly what happened. That's
Right.
exactly what happened.
Okay. And again, for those of you that are interested in this, you can get a hold of Nate after the podcast episode. Reach out to him because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions because it is a complicated process. It's not your typical scenario. So it might be, you probably will have a lot of questions. And he also has an academy that if you're really interested, you can find out about that and also grab a copy of his ebook, which is free. The 4 R's of Probate Real Estate Investing. You could just scan the code there, download that. That will get you started. And it does, that particular ebook doesn't go into the IRA part, but it is a lot of information to just get started with learning about probate real estate investing.
Yes, yes, truly so.
Okay. Now, how do investors take title? Like, how would that be different than regular real estate transaction with the IRA or the 401k?
Remember, your IRA becomes a separate legal entity, Robyn. And any property that you purchase with that legal entity. So it would be the name typically of your IRA for benefit of. For example, for benefit of your IRA would be named. And so that's how you would typically take a title. The great thing about that is that this is very, title companies know about this. Most financial managers know about this. It's not new. The general public, however, doesn't know about it. And that's one of the things that our goal is to help people understand the pros and cons of self-directed IRA investing. And that's why we want to do this podcast as well, because it's a great opportunity and it really lends itself, especially to probate, which we've mentioned before. So we want to encourage people to give us a call, to talk to me directly, to talk to their financial planners, and we can even do a conference call. But
Right.
we're here to help people understand.
Yeah. Now, what are some of the myths and mistakes that investors make with this probate real estate investing and your IRA?
Well, I think the main myth would be that it's very difficult to wed probate and IRA investing. People are used to putting them in boxes. You have probate in one box and your IRA and funds in another box. And so we have to bridge that, Robyn. We have to tell people and help people understand that it's very not only very possible, but it is very profitable. And that's the key thing people need to know, that if you step outside of the box and use the professional help and guidance that is available to you, you can use your resources to increase your wealth substantially in a short period of time. I've done this for other individuals and they have loved me for it. I want to expose other people to this very same opportunity. And so that's why probate becomes so important, because probate is the source, is the best source of real estate deals below market that I've ever come across.
Wow, and we're talking about somebody that's been doing it for 39 years. So
Yes.
this is a peek at his episodes, all the podcast episodes. You can check them out if you haven't seen some of those or missed some of those, and subscribe to That Probate Guy for more information. And we also talk about the frequently asked questions that come up from viewers like you watching and other prospective clients of Nate's. And so we're going to get into that in this section here. And if you have a question, go ahead and pop it down in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. And have you ever invested with your IRA in real estate? Are you thinking about it? Any concerns that you might have? Let us know. So and give a thumbs up to Nate. That would be really appreciative. So what reservation did you have going into the deal, Nate? That came from some person that you recently came in contact with.
Yes. This was, again, a student who had some reservations about just concerns. You know, when you work your whole life, you want to make sure that your money is taken care of. And so we had a discussion about how to do this. And her reservations were basically, who would she talk to? What professionals knew how to do this? And I assured her that if she had financial experts now that she was working with, to utilize those people. But you also need somebody who is in the real estate market, who has experience with investing and renovations or different aspects of it. And that, again, that's where we come in. But you have to have confidence in the people that you're going to work with. Now, the good news is that there are people who specialize in investments, but most of them, Robyn, do their own investments. They really don't have time to work with other individuals. But one of our services is that we work with individuals in this capacity.
So you really guide them by the hand, take them along the way. You have done every aspect of real estate investing, right? You've done appraisals, you've done pretty much
Yes.
everything in the field.
Yes, I've worked for commercial, I've sold commercial properties. I have worked for banks as an asset manager. I was an appraiser for 22 and a half years, a general broker. I mean, you name it, I've done it. And so I want to utilize my skills to help other individuals at this point in my career to grow wealth.
And this is your way of giving back and educating people, showing opportunities
Exactly.
they may not know are possible, And again, you just launched your new Probate Real Estate Investing Academy, which is fabulous. That's a concierge service where you really walk them through every step of the way. If
Every
they're
step of the
interested
way.
or thinking about it as a retirement career, which I know you've got students in that are doing this now.
Right. That's we have students who are loving our training, and I'm loving training them. I mean, to see the effervescence. They've got hope again. Because they may not have saved as they should have before they retire, but now they see an opportunity, Robyn, to make money even during their retirement years.
Right. That's great. Well, now another question that came up recently is how long did the process take to set up an IRA, self-directed IRA, and then how long does the deal itself take, and is it different than a regular real estate transaction?
Well, the first question, it did not take very long, probably about 30 to 45 days to set up my self-directed IRA. Again, I did a checkbooks IRA, so I had full control over that process. The deal itself uh, can take as little as you just have to really find the right property. You then have to structure the deal so that it makes sense for you and for the person that you're buying the property from. But the key thing, Robyn, is you need to identify professionals that can help you do that, and you must have an exit strategy. See, it's easy to get into a situation. The real where you really make money is when you have a plan to get out of the property.
Right.
Okay, so you've got, and that's what I tell my clients all the time. It's easy to sign on the dotted line, but you got to get somebody else to sign the dotted line for you when you're ready to sell it.
Right. And given the if they're brand new to this, it seems like getting a custodian would be the easiest way to get started, rather than doing like you're doing, because you're such an expert at this. But would
Right,
that be
right.
correct?
I would think so. I think part of that too is you can always graduate to the next level. Okay. And I say graduate because, again, people have worked all their lives for their money and they need to know that their money is going to be secure, Robyn. That's one of the greatest things that I want for my clients to understand, that they have to feel comfortable and that their money has to be secure in any transaction. Remember, there are a lot of scammers out here,
Hmm.
people that will go to any length to get your money from you. So you have to be extra cautious and again work with people that and you can trust.
Right. And it sounds like you have a whole team that you get their involved, you get their financial advisor or their CPA or their attorney also all involved. So they all are aware of what's going on with the transactions, right?
That's exactly right. Yes, that is exactly right.
Okay. Now, pros and cons. So what would the pros and cons be for somebody that's considering investing with their IRA or 401k in probate real estate?
Well, I think we just touched on that. I think you really have to find someone who you can work with and trust, has a great reputation, who's reputable, who knows what they're doing. And you don't want to rush into anything at this stage in life. You have done well. You want to make sure that you continue to do well, and you built on a process. Continue to use that process, Robyn. Common sense, and when you talk to people, make sure you can see deals they've done, understand, help them to. They can help you understand the process, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay, there are no stupid questions
Right.
in my business. You simply have to ask it and then allow the person to answer it. And it has to make sense to you. Okay. And run it by other professionals.
Right. So it's a diversification strategy that's an option available, basically. But you must
Yes.
do your due diligence and, again, tap into the expertise of somebody like Nate, that probate
Right.
guy. Right.
Right.
All right. And you did mention on this one, but it was a question that came up. How are my funds protected during the transaction? Again, you just touched on that. But just,
One of the great things about this process, Robyn, of investing in real estate is that your funds are always protected. Now, understand this: I never receive your funds. you always have your funds. It's my job to locate the deal for you, to structure the deal for you, and to help you through that process when you want to resell the property or whatever you're going to do. So the funds remain with you. I'm not a licensed a Series 7, anything like that. I'm a licensed real estate broker, and I stay in my lane. I know how to analyze a real estate deal. I know how to structure a real estate deal, and I know how to structure so that when we exit, everybody makes money. That's what I do, and that's what I get paid for.
Right. So you know when to turn down a deal, or when something doesn't look right, you'll say walk away.
And I do that quite often for my clients. Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, it sounds very exciting, and I think it's again a great opportunity to consider if you haven't thought about that. And you can get a hold of Nate. Again, that's his information. He has the free guide. He also has the masterclass with Probate Prosperity Academy that you could check out. It's a really good way to get started. And yeah, that is our 6th episode today of the Probate Real Estate Investing. And today was with your IRA and 401k. Thank you very much. Yes,
and
Nate?
Robyn, I would also say, if people want to call me, they have that opportunity. My number is 301-485-5072. Again, 301-485-5072, 5072. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Well, it's excellent information and education, and a really good place to start and learn more. So thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye for now. Give a thumbs up if you like the information, and please share it. Bye, Nate. Bye, all.
Take care. Bye-bye. Subscribe and hit the bell for every episode. Then grab your free Probate Real Estate Investing ebook and join the Probate Prosperity Academy, where smart investors learn to create generational wealth through probate real estate. Thank you for watching. See you in our next episode.